Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran. I help people using a spiritual perspective. I want to talk about beliefs today, right? The things that we hold dear to us that often motivate us to keep going, right? So typically when we're talking about spirituality, we talk about a belief in God or a belief in source or the universe, the Force, Star Wars, if you've ever seen Star Wars before. So there's all these beliefs, okay? Now beyond those beliefs, those sort of spiritual beliefs, we've got personal beliefs, life beliefs, things that we feel are true based on our experience. Then we have the beliefs that we put in other people, our friends, our family, the systems of government, right? Trying to believe in a judicial system that works, you believe in the nature of the government to take care of you, right? Maybe you don't believe in that, but we have these beliefs, these sort of systematic beliefs and spiritual beliefs, life beliefs. We have all kinds of beliefs, right? And what happens is there's a fundamental belief that we often forget about. And it's very simple, and it's the belief in ourself. Because we have all these other things, and we're not really taught as a human necessarily to believe in ourselves or to put ourselves first. That's not really something that we're taught. The idea is that we rely on schools to teach us things, but schools don't teach us how to be human. They don't teach us how to be compassionate or empathetic. They do not teach us how to be spiritual. They don't teach us how to find peace. There's no there's no element of that going on with education. Education is there to teach us knowledge, and that's great. It's not a knock against that, but it's not teaching us how to be human. What we rely on to teach us how to be human is our parents, but so often our parents are not any better than us. They're just wounded children playing out different, just as an older version of themselves, but they're just playing out the same things, and they sort of condition the children into the same kind of patterns, right? So with belief, we don't really have a lot for ourselves. And so the title of this video will be something along the lines of belief fails when it's externally based, or possibly another title. But the idea here is that when you place your beliefs above yourself, they begin to fail. They will fail time and time again, because no amount of spiritual beliefs will get you through your whole life. There has to be an element of belief in yourself. If you have very little belief in yourself, but a strong belief in another system outside of yourself, eventually that will fail, right? Sometimes having more faith isn't the answer, right? Which is even a better video title. Sometimes having more faith isn't the answer, right? So it's great sometimes to have faith, obviously, and much of the time, yeah, we want to have faith in the universe or source or God or spirit or spirit guides, our ancestors, our higher selves, our deepest self. We want to have belief, but the thing with all these ideas is they're all concepts, they're all ideas. You can't see it. You can feel it, but you can't really use your traditional senses to get in touch with it. And that's fine, right? Because you can see people, and sometimes they let you down. And you can see systems of government, they can let you down, right? So it's not about the seeing necessarily, or the touching, or the smelling, right? It's not about that. It'd be great if it was. Maybe the universe smells like peaches. But the sort of things that we call it, because it's a concept, our ideas and opinions about it change. And you could be, 3 years ago, the way that I saw the universe is different than the way that I see it now. And the universe hasn't changed its concept of me, though. That's the key thing. These beliefs that we have, they don't have a belief in us, right? The universe, the source, or any of these concepts or ideas, it doesn't form opinions about us. It exists simultaneously with us, but it is not there for us. Because it was there long before humans were here, and if all humans were wiped out somehow, it would still be there after, right? So life would continue to exist and the energy that makes up life would continue to exist. But our experience is here. And our experience needs a belief, and it needs a belief in ourselves. There needs to be a fundamental belief. Because what happens is that, yeah, things fall apart. Your life starts to fall apart. And the ideas that you've had about spirituality, they also begin to fall apart. And if you don't have a strong belief in yourself, it becomes very easy to attach yourself to these labels, to these ideas. We attach ourselves to twin flames, soulmates, a spiritual journey, certain elements of the spiritual journey, rituals, crystals. We throw ourselves into these sort of, these avenues. And in of themselves, the avenues aren't evil or bad or anything like that. It's not a judgment. It's that when you don't have the belief in, Kieran, me, I don't have the belief in myself, or, your soul, and you, whatever your name is, say your name here, you don't have a belief in yourself, then as you change and as you grow and as life throws different, stuff at you, you're gonna sort of crumble. Not because you're weak or anything like that, but because you're meant to transform, you're meant to grow. You can't just stay the same your whole life. Some people do, of course, but the idea of this journey is that you're growing and you're knowing yourself at a deeper level. So these things will fall away to get you back in touch with yourself. A lot of people, kind of often say, where are my spirit guides? Where are my, angels? How come they're not with me? I used to get so much information. What's going on? Well, if you think about it from the perspective of like a parent of showing you unconditional love, the idea is that they want to teach you to do things on your own. So the whole point is that you have your own belief. The word that is associated best with a spiritual awakening is not enlightenment, it's empowerment. Right? Enlightenment is a goal that the mind creates. I want to be enlightened. I want to be, Eckhart Tolle. So many people want to be like him. And I don't want to be like him. I want to be like whoever I am at the deepest level, And so I want to be myself. And to be myself and to be yourself, you don't need to be enlightened. You need to be empowered. Okay? And of course you can turn empowerment into a goal, but that's a different video. But the idea is that empowerment is a better representation of spirituality than enlightenment. The idea is to wake yourself up. Because that's what happened. That's what happened with your spiritual awakening. You woke up. And so you continuously wake up. You wake up to different layers of yourself, different parts of yourself. And so the beliefs that you had, they change. I mean, very quickly, I grew up Catholic, okay, did not resonate, did not like it, hated it. Okay, so then I was an atheist for probably 4 or 5 years. Then I was agnostic. Then I had a spiritual awakening. Then I was into New Age spirituality, right? And then after that, that started to disassociate, so I started to become disillusioned, and now my spirituality is grounded spirituality, and that's what I like to call it, okay? So grounded spirituality is what I practice and what I try to go through and what I try to learn with, okay? It's sort of an element of philosophy and spirituality and something that you can confirm with your own senses. You can go within and see if that's true for yourself before deciding if a label is the ultimate truth or a goal or any kind of these spiritual ideas. The idea is to not let them define me, okay? So I would give them definition. So we want to be empowered. We want to have a belief in ourselves more than we want to have a belief in God or source or the universe. It's not that any of those concepts are wrong or bad. If you know anything about me, you'll know that I really do not like the word God. I will never, ever use the word God. However, just for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about it in the same way as the universe or source. But to be empowered is more important than those things, because those things change. Our opinions about them change. The way that we perceive them change. Our perspectives change. So when we transform, when we go through things, often those labels and those associations that we have will change, and they will fall apart, and they will go away, and they will destroy themselves and rebuild themselves, and it'll just be a whole mess, okay? So what is it about ourselves that we can actually believe in? Because that's what's going to carry us forward, right? Beyond spirituality, beyond other people, we need to have a fundamental belief in ourselves, because otherwise we're going to get lost at some point And if we just keep relying on the stars for guidance, or the sun for guidance, well, what happens when it's night? Or what happens when it's day? What happens when it's cloudy? What happens when it's rainy? What happens when your life sucks? What happens when you gave up? What happens when you feel like shit? What happens when it's just you and your feelings and your emotions and you literally cannot take it anymore? What are you supposed to do if not rely on yourself to get to the end of your journey, or to get to the end, right? Anybody who's ever gone through a real experience in their life, like a dangerous experience, knows what I'm talking about. You cannot rely on God or whatever to get you out of a situation. You got to do it yourself. And I know that there's a quote in the Bible somewhere that says God helps those who help themselves. So the idea is similar. The whole point is that getting through a journey requires, especially towards the end, your own willpower, your own strength, your own determination. And, I've been lost in the woods before. If you've ever seen any kind of like show like Survivor Man, which real quick is just some really pasty white Canadian trying to survive in the woods and not show his penis on camera. So he's got to make it out himself. And I've been lost in the woods. You got to make it out yourself. You have to be able to make it out. You got to get to the end. And there's all kinds of dangerous situations in my life that don't involve being lost in the woods that I've had to get out myself. And it wasn't because of any external sort of thing. I didn't really rely on those sort of moments. It was nice when I did have them, when I was a little bit more in touch with those sort of things, but to actually get through to the other side, like the last 30%, the most important 30%, I had to muster up strength and courage. And that's kind of what gets you through. If you're scared about doing a presentation or something like that, it's your own confidence and your own strength that will allow you to do that presentation, not the strength or the courage of the universe. It's yours. You might be a conduit, or it might be a conduit through you, and all sorts of stuff you want to believe, but the idea is you have to be the one to take charge and to be the one that takes action. Otherwise, like I said earlier, all of your beliefs will fall apart and you won't be able to rely on them anymore.